Bubba's a good drinking buddy, but he's a horrible cellmate. Alright, it's time for some more redneckery. You've seen the 37mm. Bought these last summer. Now the downside to a 37mm is the shells. You need to load them yourself, so that's what we're going to show you here. The problem is there's nothing for a 37mm, so you have to create your own things. So I went to see the mad scientist down in the 3D print lab, and he came up with this little device right here. 3 little pieces. This is a 37mm reloading kit. So with this 37mm reloading kit, the standard hulls that you buy have no powder bushing in them like this one. There's a powder bushing right now, it fell out. Put that one off to the side. Here's one with the powder bushing in. Obviously you can see it's nice and crusty, it's been shot. It's got a spent primer in it. We're going to reload this one. But also while I have you here, I want to show you these. Look at this, 5-inch 37mm hull, 3D printed. These will be on the site soon. At least the files to print them. This right here, you've got that primer in there, you need to get it out, so you put it over top of that open hole. And you use this here to push it out. Pretty simple, pops right out. Now we need to get your 209 primers. Now we're going to push one back in. Most of the time they push in fairly easy with just your finger. This one did flush, and if it doesn't, there's a raised edge on the other side that you can put it on. This little cap goes on top so it doesn't dig into your hand, and you just give it a little press, and it's nice and flush, ready to be loaded. That's pretty much all you need the reloading kit for. Then you need your 37mm size tubes to go into the hull. And we need to fill this up with something. Because there's nothing for 37mm, I've had to make and adapt some tools. This one here pushes my little plugs in. These plugs are cut from a Christmas card, I believe. A nice thickness of paper. And we just use this pusher. I got to get this into the 3D lab for the mad scientist to work on something better than glued cardboard. But for now it works. It pushes your plug a perfect 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch into the tube. And then you get your trusty glue gun and fill it up. Now that we got that filled up, the hard part is waiting. So while we wait, we do some other things. We need some fuse for this. Get yourself your fuse. About that much. When you cut this fuse, you don't want to cut it straight across. You want to cut it on a bias, on a 45-degree angle. It helps ignite better. So cut it on a good sharp angle. You want that exposed powder right there. While we're waiting for that glue to dry, we can charge the hull. Now, these are perfectly legal to own. They can be shipped anywhere. There is no background check to get one. The downside is certain ammunitions are restricted. So what I found, the information online, says to stay under 1/4 ounce of powder for both your lift and your burst combined. So this is going to be a little bird banger round to scare wildlife off of your plants. We're going to go with a 50 grain and a 50 grain. That's 100 grains. That's well below 1/4 ounce. Just so we don't end up in jail. Bubba's a good drinking buddy, but he's a horrible cellmate. We're going to go with 50 grains. This is your triple F. Real Go X black powder. So we put 50 grains right down in the powder bushing, right above that primer. And we set it off to the side. I'm going to show you a couple other things while we wait for the glue to dry. Alright, with the 37mm down in the 3D print labs, we had them print these checks because if you look, these tubes don't exactly fit the bore when they're fired. They sail pretty good, but acts like a gas check. It seals the bore and allows all that gas pressure to push this out better. Those are little 3D print rings that we might have in the store here soon. The other thing that I found that's pretty neat is Easter eggs almost fit depending on the brand of the egg. These eggs here, I had to put them in the bore, which it's steel, so it didn't hurt it. I put them in the bore, heated them up a little bit with a torch, and then pressed them through, and now they fit perfect. So we're able to load up shells that look like this, that have a little nose cone on them. This one here, as you see, fits in there nice and snug. Perfect shell for 37. So the glue's about dry now, so we're going to take good old leather punch a hole in one of these discs for the fuse, take our tube we glued up, it's dry now, there's my Christmas card in the bottom. We're going to load in a 50 grain charge of this, and yes, it's not very full, but we are abiding by the law. So we got about 50 grains right in there. As you can see, it's not a whole lot of stuff in there. You need the cut fuse, the diagonal cut on the outside, and you're just going to press this down in. You can cut these tubes a lot shorter than this, but what we try to do is we like to have them stick out of the tube a little bit. They seem to work better that way. Once you have your plug down in there with your fuse, you just need to fill it up with some hot glue. Doesn't need to be filled completely full, but we do put a lot of hot glue in it. Gives it a little bit of extra weight. Seems to fly better with the weight. And again, we wait for it to dry. Alright, so now the glue's dried enough that we can finish this. We got our hull that's got the primer in it. It's got the powder charge. Two ways to do this. If you're going to be shooting it right away, use a couple gum bands, rubber bands here. You got to experiment to see which ones fit. There's a couple different tubes that we have and sell. Some of them use these bigger rubber bands, some of them use these smaller rubber bands. Whichever kit you get, they come with them. Put two of them on down towards the bottom, towards the fuse end, and then you just push it in the tube, push it in the hull. If you're going to be firing it right away, that's your loaded bird banger. If you're not going to be firing it right away, I'd suggest putting a little bit of glue, and run some hot glue right around the edge here to help seal the moisture out of that black powder. There you've got a loaded round, and here's a loaded round with a nose cone, Easter egg nose cone. Alright, this is the Slam Fire 37mm, and this is reloading shells for it. You don't save up money to buy a 37mm, you save up money to buy shells for the 37mm. So by reloading, you're able to get into this hobby super inexpensive. We're going to have some different products coming up. I just showed you the reloading kit. It's a very simple product, but it's makes reloading the 37 so much easier. We've got some different products we're going to bring up to you soon. But like, share, subscribe, follow our page. You can find us at redneckoutfitters.net, at the Redneck Outfitters YouTube channel. Let us know what you want to see, what other kind of redneckery you want us to come up with here.
Dude, that was so f***ing good.